And we're back with the next episode. So if you can remember back to the last episode then, all we were able to do was build our start house and just gather a few basic materials to get us going. But now that we've got all the basic stuff out the way, we can start on some larger projects. So what I've actually done off camera, as it's not the most interesting thing to watch in the world, is I've gathered a load of resources which we can use in the project that I'm hoping to do for this episode. Now I'm not going to say too much yet of what we're actually going to do, but all I'm going to say is I don't want to keep the crops and animals outside. So while I leave you to work out what we're actually going to be doing for this episode, I'm just going to head off and grab a load of wood so we can actually start on this project. Right, so that's the materials gathered, and as you can see then we got tons upon tons of wood, so we're not going to run out too quickly. Aside from that though, we're also able to gather a load of dirt which we had to use to flatten a large area out. But apart from that though, unfortunately while I was actually out, I did actually die. Now there's nothing we can do about it now, but I did actually die from getting knocked off a hill by a creeper. But yeah, what I'm going to do now is just head over to the space that we flattened out so we can actually start on our project. So I probably should tell you what we're actually going to build for this episode, and what I'm thinking is that we can house all our animals and crops in a barn. Now fair play to those that have already worked out from the hint I gave earlier. What I'm thinking is having the animals on the bottom floor and then all the crops and stuff on the floors above. And then directly underneath it we're going to have some chests which all of the crops and animal droppings can flow into. Now hopefully it'll be a bit easier than it sounds. What I'm going to do now is go ahead with the time lapse and start the project. Right, so that's our barn finished, and I can tell you now, I don't envy those that build in survival, because the amount of times I nearly died from little stuff like falling and other stuff was ridiculous. But yeah, what we are going to do now is come inside, and as you can see we've got tons of space, so we're not going to run out of space too quickly. But if we start with placing our chests first, so we can actually get some storage in, because we should be alright for food, so we can get our animals and crops in a bit later. But instead of actually having our chests underground like I said before, I think it'd actually be a better idea if we had like a pathway going down the middle or something like that. So we haven't got to keep going underground, just get a few materials out, like cobblestone or something. For the pathway though, it'd probably be a good idea if we try and avoid using wood, see if we have used it everywhere else for this project. But what I am going to do now, same as what we actually did for the barn, is I'm going to get going and place the storage in. And there you go then, that's our storage added, and I hope you did enjoy that little time lapse. Now if you can remember, I did actually say I didn't want to use wood for this bit, but I think we've actually failed at that. But I still think it looks good anyway. But from looking at the progress that we've actually made from this episode compared to last episode, it's pretty phenomenal. Since last episode, all we're able to do was get our start house in place and just get a few basic materials, whereas this episode we've built a massive barn and also got a few other basic things in place. But the next and last thing I actually want to do for this episode is actually get all of our stuff in and sorted. Now I don't actually want to have to sort it myself, as it's not the most interesting thing to do, so I just want to be able to dump it in one chest and for it to sort itself. So what I've actually done is gone online and found a design which should actually do this, because I couldn't actually come up with it myself as I'm not the best at redstone, but I will link the design and the creator in the description. So what I'm actually going to do now is go off and see if I can get it working. And we're back with the first progress update. So all I have done since the last time I showed you is I've just removed all of the dirt down the sides and under the stairs, but I just want to show you anyway just before we do actually put our redstone in, and quickly just give a quick shout out to Biggs for helping remove all of the dirt. But now what I am going to do is attempt to add all of the redstone in. So I have now added all the redstone in place and ready for testing in a second, but I can tell you now gathering all the materials needed wasn't an easy task, because to actually build what we needed we had to get nether quartz from the nether to actually make our comparators. But while I was actually there I did actually die and die and die again, because every time I died I tried to collect my stuff because stupidly I hit a pigman. But there's nothing we can do about it now, annoyingly, but what I'm going to do is go ahead and actually test out our redstone. So how it works then is you just dump all your stuff in these top 2 chests up here, like so, and then it just filters through into the correct chest, and hopefully it will work in a second. Let's just test it out. And has our cobblestone gone on the right chest? Yes it has. That should mean it should do it for the rest of them as well. But I think we're actually going to leave it there for this episode now. It seems we have got a load done this episode, even though we died 4 times, which is a bit of a shame. But again, we have still got loads done. So I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'm just going to leave it there for now.